Good evening, everyone. That's much better. It's good to hear you all networking and talking, so thank you all for being here tonight. In case you haven't met me, I'm Tanya Stevenson. I have the awesome privilege of serving as your Burke County Chamber of Commerce president, and we are honored to be able to put this event together so that our community can learn more about our candidates for this primary in 2024. At this time, if you have a device with you, please put it on silent so that it will not be interrupting our speakers when they come forward. A couple people I'd like to introduce before we get started. We have the Chamber of Commerce has a couple board members in the room. Kevin Ferris, who is our chairman of the board. Thank you for being with us. And Susan Burley, who you'll meet in just a minute, is on our executive committee. We also have a lot of elected officials, and I started making a list, and I decided that I was going to say, elected officials, if you would please stand and let us recognize you all at once. So if you are a current sitting elected official, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for understanding that I might miss one of you. I did not want to hurt anybody's feelings. But we do appreciate you all being with us here tonight. I want to say a special thank you to the staff at the Chamber of Commerce who, with everything that we do, nothing else happens. Morgan and Carrie are up here. Say hello. And Jenna, they're such a great staff to work with, and I greatly appreciate them. I always want to recognize them for their hard work. We actually have a few ambassadors in the audience today, too, the Chamber. Nothing happens without ambassadors, and we're very grateful for them. Our chairman, Kelly Messenheimer, Andrew Dennis is here, Ryan Morgan. I believe that is all of them. Hopefully I haven't missed anybody, but we appreciate you and all that you do for the Chamber as well. I want to say a big thank you. We cannot do this without timekeepers because I don't know about y'all, but we don't want to be here till midnight, right? So we have great timekeepers. So Kevin Ferris, our chairman of the board, and Kelly Messenheimer, our chairman of our ambassadors, are our timekeepers for the evening. Thank you. We appreciate your time and effort for being here. If you've got friends and family who couldn't come tonight, we will be airing this on Compass. It will be on a regular basis over the next few weeks. That'll probably start early next week. It'll also be on the Chamber of Commerce YouTube channel, so be watching for that early next week. Jenna will have that up on social media to let you know when it's ready, so you can send that out and share it with all your family and friends, especially for you elected officials who want, or your candidates who want your people to see what we do here tonight. I think I've got all the candidates in the front couple rows. If you are a candidate here and you're not in the front couple rows, please make your way to the front now. That way when we make moves tonight, it'll go by a lot quicker. I want to say a huge thank you to Western Piedmont Community College. We've just got a beautiful campus here and wonderful people to work with. Susan has been tremendous to work with. Stacy Schuller's always wonderful. Dr. Joel Welch, we so appreciate his partnership. Tim Pittman up in the studio booth. We couldn't do anything without you. We just are so appreciative of all your hospitality. So let's give Western Piedmont Community College a say a big thank you to this young man up front. Randy Davis is on episode 11. If you got any video or photography needs, he does a fabulous job. So catch him and grab a business card from him. But thank you, episode 11, for being here. Let's give him a round of applause. And if you ever hear me speak, you hear me speak about sponsors, because those people who invest in our Chamber of Commerce, we couldn't do it without them, and we are so very grateful for our partnership and investments from AT&T. So tonight we have with us Mr. Chuck Green, and he's going to introduce your moderator and tell you a little bit more about AT&T. Let's give AT&T a big round.
Thank you, Tanya. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Chuck Green. I'm Director of Government Affairs for AT&T North Carolina. And even though I'm based in Winston-Salem, I always say that coming to an event here in Burke County is like coming home. I was born and raised in Valdez, graduated from East Burke High School a very long time ago. And actually, my mom still lives here in Burke County, so she's asked me to let her know how things go tonight. So y'all better be on your best behaviors when I report you to my mom. So I did want to talk about why AT&T feels it's important to sponsor these candidate forums. We value our partnerships with governments on all levels and realize the good things that those partnerships can bring. For example, we've partnered with the federal government to create FirstNet, which is the first ever nationwide wireless network devoted entirely to first responders, so that when there's a disaster, they can get the critical communications that they need. We've partnered with the state government to create a statewide EZNet fiber optic network that connects every single 911 center in the state, so that if a 911 center, including the one here in Burke County, for some reason it loses power or for other reason cannot answer 911 calls, those calls will automatically be routed to another 911 center, so no 911 call will go unanswered. And finally, partnering with our local governments to work with the state on the broadband grant programs so that we can help close the digital divide in rural areas by providing high-speed internet connections. So with these partnerships, we understand what a great personal sacrifice and hard work it takes not only to run for public office, but to serve as well. So we want to thank each and every one of you tonight who are here, who serve currently and who are running to serve, because we do know what it takes. And so with that, it is now my pleasure to introduce our moderator for this evening. Susan Burley serves as the Vice President for Student Success and Support Services at Western Piedmont Community College. In her role, she oversees student services, marketing, institutional research and evaluation, and accreditation. Susan works to carry out the college's vision to be a transformational community leader that empowers all individuals to achieve success. Prior to joining the team at Western Piedmont Community College, Susan held positions in land use planning with Burke County government and the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. Susan is a certified planner through the American Institute of Certified Planners. In addition to her role as the Vice Chair of Government Relations for the Burke County Chamber of Commerce, Susan serves on the Board of Trustees of the Burke County Public Library and is co-chair of the City of Morganton's Image 2040 Comprehensive Land Use Planning Advisory Committee. Susan has been a resident of the City of Morganton for the past 24 years and enjoys the diversity of the community as well as the abundant natural resources of the surrounding region. Please help me welcome Susan Burley.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Leviton Auditorium on the campus of Western Piedmont Community College. We're excited to be hosting the forum this evening and hope that you will return to visit us on campus soon. I want to take a moment to thank Compass Cable and Greg Branch for recording our forum. And a special thank you to my colleague Tim Pittman, who is in the sound booth this evening. He is Western Piedmont Community College's Media Services Administrator, and he is helping with our technology this evening. The Burke County Chamber of Commerce invited all candidates on the Burke County Board of Elections candidate list to participate in this evening's forum. In order to stay on time and to allow for everyone to be heard, please hold your applause until all candidates in each group have finished speaking. The format for candidates will be as follows. First, each candidate will be given an opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. If a candidate does not have a challenger present, they will give a 3-minute statement and there will be no additional questions. Second, in races with multiple candidates present, candidates will be asked questions that they have not seen before this evening. Questions were drafted by the Burke County Chamber of Commerce. In the interest of fairness, I will be rotating the order of questions so that the order in which candidates respond also rotates. Candidates will have 1 minute to respond to each question as the question is asked. Questions will be projected on the screen behind the candidates for the audience to see. After all the questions have been asked, the candidates with opposition present will be given an opportunity to give a 2-minute closing statement. The really important parts, our timekeepers are up front, and they will be giving candidates a 1 minute, a 30-second warning, and then showing candidates a sign when to stop. So again, in the interest of time, when your time is up, please stop speaking or I will have to cut you off. And again, a word to our audience members, I respectfully request that you remain quiet throughout the forum this evening. Please do not applaud, cheer, or otherwise distract from the candidates' remarks or the process. There will be several opportunities throughout the evening for us to collectively applaud the candidates and express our appreciation to them for participating. So first on stage tonight will be the candidates for North Carolina Governor. We'll follow that by a candidate for North Carolina Treasurer, candidate for North Carolina Senate District 46, and a candidate for the Burke County Register of Deeds. Then we will follow that with candidates for the Burke County Commissioners, and end with candidates for the Burke County Board of Education. So now it is my pleasure to recognize and welcome to the floor two of the candidates for North Carolina Governor, Sherelle Booker and Mike Morgan.
Good evening, candidates. I'd like to just begin by directing your attention to our timekeepers up front here so you'll know where to look to make sure you're staying on time. And we will open up with a 2-minute opening statement from each of you. And going in alphabetical order by last name, we'll start with candidate Booker. 2 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sherelle Booker. I am from the town of Tryon, North Carolina, where I am the Mayor Pro Tem. Tryon is the birthplace of Miss Nina Simone, in case you all don't know. And I am the candidate that is in the most western part of North Carolina. I am a national leader with the National League of Cities. I've led the Women in Municipal Government. I've been on the board. I've chaired the Information Technology and Communications Committee. I am running because I feel like the information that I have learned throughout the United States will help me in making decisions as governor per citizens in all of the counties and in all of the municipalities, because that's what I have done on the level of the National League of Cities, on the national level there. And I just happened to read a statement from the women, about the women that have run for governor. And there have only been in the United States in its history 49 governors, women governors, and there have only been 34 of those who actually won on their own the first time they went out. So I am here to represent North Carolina in the form of each citizen, and I am here thinking that I'm doing my part to get more women to run for elected office. And I yield my time.
Thank you, candidate Booker. Candidate Morgan.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate the Burke County Chamber of Commerce having this opportunity for all of us to get together. My name is Mike Morgan. I am formerly the Senior Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of North Carolina. It's my honor to run for governor. I'm running because I feel as though I'm the best qualified candidate for governor. I've got a unique skill set never before seen in a candidate. I was in state government for 44 years, 34 years on the bench of North Carolina, encompassing 4 different judgeships, more judgeships than anybody in the state of North Carolina has ever been privileged to hold in this great state. As a result, I've honed judicial skills over the course of decades that allows me to understand the difficult problems that we face in our great state, and applying those judicial analytical skills, I know what state government can and cannot do, what it should and should not do, not only for its government, but also for the citizens. Also, I'm the most electable to be governor because the citizens understood when I ran in 2016 that I had the strongest candidacy when I ran then. And when I ran for the Supreme Court in 2016, I had the greatest margin of victory of any candidate running statewide that year, carrying 76 out of 100 counties, almost 55% of the vote, and again, more votes than anybody that year. I'm running for the Democratic nomination for governor, and I do represent the fact that I am someone who will unite North Carolina, not divide North Carolina. I'm a leader in that sense, and as a result, I'm the strongest candidate to run against Mark Robinson, who would be on the other side in November. I don't want North Carolina to be divided. We are united. We get strength in diversity. We get our strength from understanding who we are. And as a result, I've represented government at the highest level and feel as though a level playing field is what we all need. I emphasize rural North Carolina. We could do much more to make sure that not everything goes to the urban areas.
Morgan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move into our series of questions. So I invite both candidates to open up their envelope with their first question. The first question reads, CNBC has ranked North Carolina as the #1 state in the nation for business for 2 years in a row. In 2023, North Carolina's workforce, economy, technology and innovation, and education received grades of A- or higher, while cost of living was graded a C, and life, health, and inclusion was graded a D+. What would you do to maintain North Carolina's high grades and improve upon areas in which grades are not as high? We'll begin this round with candidate Morgan, and you will have 1 minute to respond.
We are a great place, and what I would do would be to emphasize the fact that we have great people in North Carolina across the board that just want to work hard, earn an honest living, and raise the standards for everybody. We can raise those lower grades by just having a higher quality of life for everybody. Our rural areas have been neglected, and we can do better in terms of making sure that across the board we attract business that will make sure that they want to come here to invest in our great state, to make sure that we have the best education, the best hospitals, the best schools, because when we have those as a valuable infrastructure, including good transportation, everybody will want to come here. We already rank high, but we can do better, even on those lower areas upon which we're graded, and North Carolina being the great state that it is, if we remember rural North Carolina as well as urban North Carolina, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Thank you, candidate Morgan. Candidate Booker.
I would like to say that I also love this state, and it is a great state. As far as education and that A for education, I come from a county where we are pretty much always #1 or #2 in North Carolina as far as education. As far as health care, I would really like to protect those who are having struggles with medications and having the bills that they have to pay at the after hospital or emergency rooms. So my whole thing is about having partnerships, and so we can find people who can help us in the areas of our C's and D's as far as getting those up to grade. But at the same time, I think that if we maintain within ourselves, if we maintain ourselves at a level of A, we will have less issues as far as all of us coming together and needing that help. So if each one help each other, I think that that will really help our case, because like I said, I'm about partnerships.
Booker. Thank you both. Okay, next question. Please open up envelope number 2. Question number 2 reads, in 2023, we saw a supermajority created in the North Carolina legislature. How do you plan to work across party lines to ensure that minority party representatives and the executive branch are not excluded from the governing process? We'll begin this round with candidate Booker.
That's what my life is built around as the mayor pro tem, and as traveling around this country. And dealing with over 200 million people, not directly, but the possibility of dealing with over 200 million people in 49 states. I don't have a partisan view when I'm with them. Our objective is to get together, solve a problem, and I haven't had any issues as far as working with people across the line. So I think that if we all are about the people and not about ourselves or just the party line, I think that we can accomplish great things here in America, the United States. So sometimes I have to remember when I'm talking about the state and not across the country. But yeah, I think that working that's my thing, working together, partnerships, and getting the job done. And I think that we can't do it without each other. So party lines have not been an issue for me.
Thank you, Candidate Booker. Candidate Morgan.
I do it the same way I've done it all my life, including most recently on the State Supreme Court of North Carolina. That is to have collegial, respectful relationships with everyone who is working towards a common cause. When I was on the State Supreme Court at one time, I was a part of the majority when the majority on the court was 6-1 Democrat. I was also, at the time I left, it was 5-2 Republican. But I always learned to understand that when you work through collegial relationships and respectful relationships, irrespective of one's orientation or foundation, there's the common bond that you need to get the work done. And in doing that on the State Supreme Court, I learned to forge those kinds of relationships, respecting everyone else, and being convinced by them at times, and me convincing them at times, that no matter what our affiliations happen to be, we needed to work for the betterment of everybody in North Carolina. So as governor, I would do that with legislators and everybody in government.
Thank you, Candidate Morgan.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now I invite you to open up the third question. The third question reads, Burke County is experiencing many of the same issues that are faced in other rural counties across the state. Affordable housing, childcare, worker shortages, homelessness, and drug use are issues that affect families, businesses, and the overall health of our community. What will you do at the state level to help us address these issues locally? And we'll begin this round with Candidate Morgan.
I'll emphasize rural places in North Carolina as I've been doing throughout my campaign. I've been emphasizing rural North Carolina because rural North Carolina has been forgotten. It's been held back. While we concentrate on the urban areas going forward, the rural areas unfortunately be getting further and further behind. I'll make sure that state resources are fully given to all areas of North Carolina, but the rural areas need to have some particular uplift because there's a need to make sure we've got the infrastructure available, that we're raising all the standards in all the metrics to make sure that we're doing all that we can to make sure that nobody's left behind. That includes education. On the Leandro case, which I helped to decide, education's been falling behind in rural areas. I'll build that up. Also, all other areas that have been neglected, I'll make sure that Burke County and all rural areas get their fair share because indeed we treasure all of North Carolina.
Thank you, Candidate Morgan. Candidate Booker.
As realtor and human resources manager, the subject of housing and of course work shortage, I have some experience in that area. And being connected across the United States, again, I'm about partnerships, and I think that we have great partners here in North Carolina. I think we have great partners across this country. And as your governor, I intend to engage our North Carolinians, because if the problem is our North Carolinians, they can help solve those problems also. One quick example, I went to San Francisco and they were helping the homeless. So they engaged the homeless to tell them what they needed. And you would be surprised at what the homeless came up with. Don't give us anything that's permanent or stable. And that's how they're solving, in some places, that's how they're solving their problems. So my thing is to engage our own citizens in these issues.
Thank you, Candidate Booker. And now we will end with a 2-minute closing statement from each candidate, beginning with Candidate Morgan.
Thanks again for this opportunity, and thanks to everybody for coming out. Mine is a transformative campaign. I'm excited about the fact that this candidacy is changing North Carolina to never be the same again. That's because I'm restoring the voice of the people. Too many times the people have been ignored in North Carolina. There's a legislature picking winners and losers among us. There's a legislature as well as other leaders that are predetermining our respective destinies. As long as anyone wants to put one foot in front of the other, live a lawful life, and put his and her best efforts forward, anybody ought to be whatever they want to be. I tell young people that all the time as I address young people in their groups. And the same for us adults in North Carolina. So we need to restore the voice of the people. I am empowering people, rural North Carolina, urban North Carolina, anywhere across the board. We can all be what we can be as long as all boats rise with that rising tide. And as a result, I want to make sure that everyone is lifted up with an empowering voice. Leaders in our state have been choosing who is going to succeed them. That's wrong. We've got to stop this system of making sure that the people are left behind because those that are in power are anointing who they want to succeed them by passing off the proverbial baton. That stops with me. When I'm the governor, everybody has an equal seat at the table because after all, it's not enough to just have a seat at the table. It's time for folks like me to have the seat at the table. I come from humble beginnings. I understand being from North Carolina's small eastern town, New Bern, that a town like Morganton, wonderfully named as it is, needs to have somebody who remembers all the people. So as a result, remember me, Mike Morgan, morganforgovernor.com, and Mike Morgan for Governor. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Morgan. Candidate Booker.
I would like to say that as a candidate that comes from a very tiny town, you have about 1,500 members, and then to end up at the national level as a president and to be able to travel this country, to go into people's backyard and into their cities and towns and villages and to see that they are connected to us in a way that we all are connected, and to be able to have these relationships that can help us and help our government, not just the governor, but to help our government across the board as far as partners, and to be able to solve some of these problems, I think that is an excellent experience for me to have met these people. But I see me as a governor, myself as a governor, with a big chalkboard with all of the issues written on them, all the problems written on them, with the help of, like I said, engaging our citizens and partners from not just North Carolina, but other places. I see us working and marking those off. Those long-term issues that's been there for years, probably before I was even born, that should have been corrected or fixed or whatever, we're going to mark those off. We're going to get those done. And those newer issues, we're going to get them done quicker because I don't go into this alone. I go into it with the people who are there on the ground, people that is in their lives, people who have the answers, but they don't get to come and say, this is what will fix this issue, not just for me and my family, but my neighbors and across the board here. And I see myself not just erasing those problems and getting North Carolinians the healthy that they want in the form of joy. If you don't have these issues and you've helped to get them off, you don't know how it is when you help and you get something accomplished. That is what I want to do. I want to do it with partnerships, and I want to do it with us connecting with people across this country. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to connect with people across the entire country. So I have help for not just myself, but for help for this North Carolina.
Thank you, Candidate Booker.
Getting on the road.
I want to thank both candidates for participating in the forum tonight. So if you will, please join me in a round of applause for both. Next up, we will welcome to the floor candidate for North Carolina Senate District 46, John Agger. And you might see some additional slides going by up here. There were some folks that were in flux of whether or not they could attend, so we're just going to move ahead. So we welcome Mr. Agger to the floor, and if you would prefer to sit or stand.
It's a solo, right?
Yeah, it is a solo, so we will just have a 3-minute statement from you, and again, your timekeepers are up front.
Timekeeper, all right. Well, really appreciate being here. My name is John Agger. I served in the North Carolina House for 4 terms. I live on a farm in Buncombe County in Fairview, North Carolina. We are farmers way back. We celebrated our 100th anniversary. I believe you can buy Hickory Nut Gap. I don't mind making a plug. You can buy Hickory Nut Gap food at Ingalls here. I think we're my family has engineered or organized in a business way for small farms. We're now a collection of small farms. It's one of the things I'm very proud of. We are able to compete regionally and get our products in the stores. I've also in my business life I created a beautiful development right next to our farm. I was worried about what would happen to it. It was a conservation easement development called Drover's Road Preserve. Very successful. I have a lot of great new neighbors, and I'm real proud of that as well. My family has also purchased a warehouse. We have a warehouse in Henderson County, and we're learning that there's a lot of demand for warehouses in my area, so we're pleased with that. Maybe that's all I need to say. Well, I'll say a little bit more because I'm so proud of my family. I married my wife Annie 53 years ago. We have 4 sons. My oldest son Eric is actually in the North Carolina House right now from Buncombe County. He was in the Navy for 25 years, had a great career, was in the U.S. Embassy in Ankara, Turkey for 4 years, and he actually helped train the Ukrainian military as a fellow at the George C. Marshall Foundation in Germany. So he had a great career. He's a great guy. My second son, Kevin, is a wounded warrior. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan, really 5 miles from Kandahar, had a tough time there, and he's a great guy. And my next son, Jamie, is now running Hickory Nut Gap Farm, and my youngest son, Doug, has a very successful rooftop solar company, Sugar Hollow Solar. So I'm very proud of that. I'm also really proud of my 9 grandchildren, and I won't tell you all about them. But we have a wonderful life on this farm. We live in an old house. If you've ever been like on the way to Lake Lure and you go through all those curves, that's where we live.
Thank you, candidate Egger.
I got the stop sign.
You got the stop sign. So please join me in thanking candidate Egger for his time this evening.
Well, I had more to say now that I realize it. Thank you all.
Okay, next up we will welcome to the floor Stephanie Norman, candidate for Burke County Register of Deeds. And again, you will have an opportunity for a 3-minute statement, and your timekeepers are up front.
Good evening. I'm Stephanie Norman. I'm your current Burke County Register of Deeds. It's an honor and privilege to be here this evening. A lot of people don't realize how important the Register of Deeds office is. We're often overlooked and at the bottom of the list, but without us, nobody in here could get insurance. Nobody in here could get a driver's license. We hold your birth certificates, your death certificates, your marriage licenses. Commerce would cease to end because we record all your financial documents. So the Register of Deeds office is pretty important. And my staff don't get near enough credit that they deserve. And I have them all here tonight. Please stand up. And everybody recognize my awesome team. I appreciate and I'm humbled by the confidence in Burke County that I'm unopposed again this year. That means more to me than anything other than God and, of course, my family, and we can keep going. But it does mean a lot to me to be unopposed and to have your confidence to be your Register of Deeds. We have a lot of initiatives that are going on. We've got back indexing projects. We have become a passport facility for new passports, which has been very busy, very busy. We started in February and we have done 402 applications already. So that's a lot. In a year, that's a lot. We have other things that are going on. Please stop by to see us. We always enjoy seeing everybody, even if it's your best of time because you've had a brand new baby, you've bought a brand new house, or if it's in a dark time when you've lost your spouse or a family member. But we're always there for you, and I just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Norman. Please join me in thanking her. Okay, next up, we will move on to our candidates for Burke County Board of Commissioners. So I welcome to the front Brian Barrier, Jeff Britton, Johnny Carswell, Sean Freeman, Scott Mulwey, and Mike Stroud. Okay, we will begin with an opening statement from each candidate. Each candidate will have 2 minutes. Again, I remind you of your timekeepers up front, and we will be proceeding down the line alphabetically. So we'll start off first with candidate Barrier.
Good evening. My name is Brian Barrier, and I humbly ask for your vote for County Commissioner. I'm a lifelong resident of Burke County. I'm married to Michelle, who's been a public school teacher for 29 years. We have 2 sons, Trevor and Luke. We attend Pleasant Hill Baptist Church, where I've been a deacon, helped teach youth Sunday school, and I'm on the Finance Committee. I'm on the Community Relations Council for Avery Mitchell Correctional Institution. I'm on the Finance Committee for the Catawba River Baptist Association and a member of the Christian Businessmen's Connection. I served as chairman of the Burke County Republican Party from 2021 to 2023. I currently serve on the Executive Committee for the 14th Congressional District. I graduated from Freedom High in 1990 and immediately joined and served honorably in the U.S. Army until 1996. I worked in high-end furniture manufacturing, both on the floor and in leadership. I moved into the automotive industry and have spent the majority of my career in retail sales, outside sales, and business-to-business sales, along with an operations role as a district manager overseeing 15 stores, hundreds of employees, and multi-million-dollar budgets. In April 2019, I purchased and now publish the Blue Ridge Christian News. Please remember this. I pledge to be available. Many of you have already reached out to me via phone, text, Facebook, and email. If you have, you know I've responded, and I always will. I pledge to oppose all efforts to increase property taxes. I pledge to be transparent and have open communication. I will use social media and other communication methods to let you know what's going on in the county. I pledge that any vote I take to spend your hard-earned tax dollars will be like it was coming out of my own pockets. I pledge to never cast a vote for a major project or expenditure until I have reached out to the citizens of this county for input. I'm your most conservative, limited government candidate. I'm Brian Barrier, and I humbly ask for your vote for County Commissioner.
Thank you, Candidate Barrier. Candidate Britton.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Britton, and it's been my honor to serve the citizens of Burke County for the last 12 years. My wife Cynthia and I were both born and raised here in Burke County, and we've raised our 3 girls here and now have 4 grandsons. With my whole life invested in Burke County, I want to see our county prosper and grow. I attended Mole Elementary, Salem Junior High, Freedom High School, and then furthered my education at NC State University, where I received a BS degree in electrical engineering. Upon graduation, I was fortunate to begin work with Rutherford Electric Membership Corporation, where I'm still employed. I've been with them for 40 years, and it's my pleasure to manage the Burke-McDowell service area. Cynthia and I are active members at Mount Home Baptist Church, where I have served and serve on many different committees and capacities, and also enjoy our music ministry there. I'm a member of several civic, professional, and local organizations, including the Rotary Club of Morganton, Professional Engineers of North Carolina, having previously served on that board and president of the board. Also been a member of the Burke County United Way Board and served on as officer there. Also Burke County Chamber of Commerce, where I also served previously as chairman of that board. I've had the opportunity to work in leadership positions both professionally and personally, and understand the importance of working together with others for the common good of all. We must think past tomorrow and continue to develop long-range plans that will keep us on track for the future of our families. With that in mind, we must make smart decisions that will adequately serve our children and our grandchildren for many years to come. As your commissioner, that will always be my top priority.
Thank you, Candidate Britton. Candidate Carswell.
Thank you. I'm Johnny Carswell, and I want to thank the Chamber and to everyone that is here tonight in this audience. I've had the honor of serving as your commissioner since February of 2011, and I would consider it a privilege if you would give me the opportunity to continue to serve you as your representative on the Burke County Board of Commissioners. I realize, just as you do, the uncertainty of our future and that the leaders you elect today must have vision and the common sense to ensure Burke County is the greatest place to live, work, play, and worship. My wife, Brenda, and I have lived in Burke County all of our lives with our 4 children, our 12 grandchildren, and our 6 great-grandchildren. When I look into their faces, I too am concerned about the future. And I can assure you that it is my sincere desire to see Burke County prosper. I took an oath as your commissioner to ensure that the taxes you pay are used responsibly, and I've lived up to that oath. I have fulfilled my duty as a commissioner by voting for responsible budgets that were balanced both in an accounting sense and in their priorities. I believe Burke County needs to continue to make smart investments in education and economic development while being cognizant of the mandates that are being forced on us by the federal and state governments. As your commissioner, I will continue to ensure that our spending is neither short-sighted nor wasteful, no matter the demands that are placed on us from any of these sources, and I will make sure the correct decision about what constitutes a needed expense. This election, like all other local elections, is about trust, and I am asking that you continue to place your trust in me to be the common sense leader that moves our county forward.
Thank you, Candidate Carswell. Candidate Freeman.
Yes, my name is Sean Freeman, and I'm a lifelong resident here in Burke County. My wife and I have been married for 32 years, although if you ask her, I think she said at one point 33 years, so it's a little bit longer for her than me. We have a daughter, Emma, who has produced us a grandson who we're head over heels with, in love with. What I'll tell you is I graduated East Burke in 1989. I've always been focused here in the city and within our county. I was a public safety officer with Morgan's Public Safety for quite a few years. To be able to get advancement, I did have to leave the area for my profession, and I went to the coast at Ballhead Island where I was assistant chief of public safety there. In an effort trying to get back to this end of the county, I took a job at Beach Mountain, then ultimately retired at Black Mountain. Immediately after high school, of course, we had the Gulf War breaking out. Before my wife and I got married, I ended up going and joining the military, and I came home and we spent a day together, and then I shipped right out. With that being said, I'm a member of the Disabled American Veterans Chapter 43, a member of Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 23, and a member of the Police Benevolence Association. My goal is to come back into this county, and where I've been able in the past to provide things to other counties and other municipalities, to be able to do those same things here. This I pledge. I pledge that you will have my undying support for you. You will have the voice returned to you as the people, and before any decisions are made, we will hear and take your input and let you be the voice that's heard to make those decisions.
Thank you, Candidate Freeman. Next up, Candidate Mulvey.
Thank you, Susan. Good evening, everyone. If you learned anything about any of us tonight, be friends with the Register of Deeds and their staff. Just FYI. I have a long list of accomplishments. I won't go into those and boards that I've been on. So that is on my campaign page. What I would say is I'm extremely proud of our record. Jeff and Johnny and I have been serving together as a team since 2016. As commissioners, our 2 main responsibilities, and we have a lot of responsibilities, is hiring a county manager and setting the tax rate. In the last year, we hired a new county manager. Many of you met this gentleman. I don't think Mr. Epley's here tonight, but I will tell you, he is a rock star and a rising star recognized throughout the state. In the last year, because of reval, we decided to lower our tax rate by 13.5 cents, which equated to 20% to offset that reval. Also in the past year, while doing this, We increased public education funding by 23%. We increased public safety funding by 13%. We are now historically in the best fiscal shape with a credit rating by Moody's and S&P of AA+, which is the 12th highest in the state. I've been working with as a financial advisor for Edward Jones for 21 years. I think I know about budget. This reflects a strategic plan to increase our general fund while also keeping our debt very low. We continue to recruit new business and expand existing business. By doing this, we expand our tax base, which lowers the tax burden on individual taxpayers. This is resulting in over 800 high-paying manufacturing jobs and over $200 million in new infrastructure investment in the last 3 years. We have great relationships with our schools,
Thank you,
Chamber,
Candidate
college,
Mobley.
and others.
Thank you. And next up, Candidate Stroud.
I'm Mike Stroud. Thanks for everybody being here. You guys know me. Man, I'm honored to be sitting here with all these prestigious people. You know, I'm a blue-collar guy. I own Stroud's Building Supply. I've been here since 1990. I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina, York County, and I love it here. I married a girl up here, and I've been here ever since. I've had a business here for 24 years, Stroud's Building Supply and Steel Trusses. My wife is Samantha. I have 3 sons. Joseph is one of them here. I'm a very proud father, and I'm a very proud citizen. I love all that we do here, but I'm a different person. I'm all about business, and I'm all about bringing things up, and it just don't seem like it's brought up enough for me. It seems like it's always a struggle for me in anything I've had to do with the government. You know, it's never customer service to me. I'm a customer service guy in business, building at Lowe's here in town, building at my business, and everybody got to be approachable. They got to be, able to see and talk to each other and commit with one another. And that's one thing I'm about. I'm about transparency, communication. You know, I know we got things up there. My rock stars are in March. I don't know if she's here somewhere. She's CFO of my company. Man, I like the ladies. I like the home team people. I'm all about the home team, the county. We haven't done enough in my mind for the local people. We got a lot of things going on, but it just don't feel like it. Just don't feel like it. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, the people I talk to just don't feel like it. You know, it seems like we just need a little bit more, and I'm all about a little bit more in doing things. Well, I want the best. I know everybody says that, but when I ride around, I don't see the best. I don't see the best looking streets. I don't see the best looking buildings. I mean, everything looks a little dilapidated to me, and I don't mean to be throwing the stones. I'm all about bringing it up, and so that's me. I'm all about doing good things and bringing people up and being transparent, and I'm excited about what's going to take place. I was telling Scott, it's like a wrestle-off, you know. We all love one another.
Thank you, Candidate Stroud. Thank you. Now I invite the candidates to open up, and again, if you would please hold your applause. Candidates, please open envelope number 1. And the first question, the proposed Great Meadows mega site has drawn a lot of attention in recent months. Some have stated that the site is a transformative opportunity for the region, while others have voiced concern about negative impacts on the environment, unsightliness, and traffic problems. How will you balance advancing Burke County through economic development while preserving natural resources, making Burke County nature's playground? And to begin this round, we will start with Candidate Britton.
All right, thank you very much. This is a project that has garnered some negative press in our community. That's unfortunate, I think. As we look at this project, we see lots of potential. A lot of that potential has happened in the eastern part of our state because that's where North Carolina has focused a lot of its efforts. This project will allow us to bring more and better, higher paying jobs to our community. When you look at all the statistics, we have a below average wage. We have 22% of our young people who aren't working between the ages of 16 and 24. We've got 20% of our children living in poverty. A project like this would bring better and higher paying jobs that would impact all of those areas. It's almost like a domino effect. Those jobs would impact each one of those areas along with every other area that drives our folks down. So I believe this
Thank
is
you,
a
Candidate
positive
Britton.
project for our community.
Thank you. Next, Candidate Carswell.
Thank you, Susan. I'm going to echo everything that Jeff said. We don't have enough time here to go into this question like it should be. I would like to say that we have not received enough information to even take a vote on this project. BDI has asked for a variance in the ordinances of the zoning, and that's all that has been placed in front of the Burke County Board of Commissioners. With that, I would say I have to wait on more information before I can do anything. If this comes to fruition, as Jeff said, we will have jobs that we've never had before. And the people in Burke County deserve jobs just like the people in the eastern part of the state where the 5 other mega sites have been built. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Carswell. Candidate Freeman.
Well, I think first we have to address the fact that citizens were blindsided with this. They were not given the opportunity to step in and be heard and be told what was going on, or even, a thought put into this. I think when we're looking at major jobs and things like this, we've got to pull the citizens' input in first. Before we spend the very first cent on moving forward and addressing these things, we have to put the citizens first. I agree the fact that we do need these jobs here, but do we need it at the expense of farmlands, timberlands, and damaging our water resources, potentially? We have to include our citizens in these decisions, and we have to give them their voice back.
Thank you, Candidate Freeman. And again, we are recording this evening's event, so we appreciate if you hold your applause until the end so that the recording is clear. Next up, Candidate Mulwee.
Well, I agree on a lot of different points that have already been stated. I will say that with a great opportunity brings great responsibility, or greater responsibility. So there's some things that I think BDI should have done beforehand. So we've asked BDI to go back to the drawing board before it ever shows up to us again, and look at right-sizing the project. There's no need. We're never going, regardless of what comes, whenever it comes, we have no idea. But what I would say is there's strategies to bring jobs in a responsible way that protects Burke County environmentally. I'm chairman of the board of the TDA, Tourism Development Authority, brings in $130 million a year. I'm doing nothing to jeopardize that. We can right-size the application. We can introduce conditional rezoning. There's a lot to work with. I would ask you, I've addressed this subject on YouTube, North Carolina video, fireside chats. I've been doing them for 18 months.
Thank you, Candidate Mulwee.
And please look at that,
Thank you. And next up, Candidate Stroud.
Yes. Well, this is simple for me. It comes down to maintenance. It comes down to taking care of what we already got. We already got that one in the pocket, it seems like. We on lockdown on that one, so we got that like an ace in the pocket. So we can always do that, but we haven't done nothing with the micros, what I call it, the micro site. Heck, we can't take care of what we got already. We got an industrial site out there already. Let's look inward for some of the businesses like mine and R&R and hometowns, even manufacturing. Hey, we can do all the homes you want to do right here. Do everything right here. Home, we can think of what one Henry Ford could do in Morganton. That's what we're offering. We got the home team. We got the best people in the crowd here. And we all agree on these things, but we're not using them. We're always looking outside and all these different things. We got the best people right here. We can manufacture anything we want to do right here and bring everybody up right here. I'm all for the blue-collar people. People's out there in the service industry and working and stuff like that. We ain't got time to take care of things. We're taking care of our families and everything else.
Thank you, Candidate Stroud.
Thank you.
And we'll wrap up this round with Candidate Barrier.
Thank you. I kind of alluded that I'm the most limited government conservative candidate that you're going to see tonight, and I mean that in all sincerity. I think government's got to get out of the way and let private industry, if they're going to develop, let those people do that. But I'll tell you this, I reached out on Facebook initially before anybody because I had people calling me saying, hey, you're a candidate for commissioner. I want to know what your stance is on the mega site. And it's not about my stance, it's about your stance. You're the taxpayer. So I put the question out there, what do you think about the 1,400-acre mega site? And some people didn't know, so I shared the articles. Some people called, but we got 300 comments is my point to this. 300-400 comments, people in my family, my friends, And because of that, I took the stance I'm totally against the mega site because they are. You're the taxpayer, not me. I mean, I'm a taxpayer, but I'm going to be representing you. So what I'm going to do is what the people out there in the county want to do, and I'm going to ask for that feedback before we start on any kind of projects or soliciting this kind of stuff. Because, and Mike's right, we do have an industrial site on Cathy Road that was 79 acres. And
thank you, candidate Barrier.
Thank you.
I now invite candidates to open up the second envelope. And the second question reads, there are a number of social issues facing Burke County. The overdose death rate is higher than the state average. The number of individuals who are unsheltered is a concern in our communities. The number of youth ages 16 to 24 who are not working and are not in school is higher than the rural metro county average. Opposition to the memorial statue of a Confederate soldier at the historic Morganton Courthouse is regularly voiced at meetings of the county commissioners. Taking into consideration these issues, what is your vision for the future of Burke County? We will begin this round with candidate Carswell.
Thank you, Susan. The overdose death rate is higher than the state average. I think everyone in this room knows that we lost our son to an overdose. As president of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, I travel this state, I travel the United States, preaching about overdose and the death of children. I hope it stops in Burke County. With my initiative called One More Thing, we're bringing together officials from the National Association of Counties and prominent members of every county in this state to address the issue of the overdose death rate. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't close enough borders to keep fentanyl and drugs out of Burke County. It will never happen. Unfortunately, that is the world that we're living in right now. As far as opposition to the memorial statute of the Confederate soldier, that is state law that it cannot come down.
Thank you, candidate Carswell.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next up, candidate Freeman.
Thank you. Overdose has been an issue for going on several decades now. I just recently lost a family member myself to an overdose of fentanyl. So I'm not downplaying the fact that we have a problem. You know, is turning the Burke Talbot Detention Center into a regional drug rehab the way to go. The one thing I will say is I don't think it's the way to go by putting the burden on the taxpayers of Burke County. I think it's much larger than that. I think that we have to look to the federal level to start addressing these issues. I think that we've got to pull the federal government in, and we have outside agencies such as our faith-based organizations who do things such as this as well. We cannot continue to burden and grow our government and burden our taxpayers with things like this. We've got to use those outside resources. And again, as far as the Confederate statue is in.
Thank you, candidate Freeman. Next up, candidate Mulway.
And I politely disagree on the long-term care recovery center. When you look at the issue, when we talk with, and I'm on the NCACC Executive Committee, Johnny's the president, we talk with counties across the state, across the nation, and it's a national issue, but it's also unique to each situation. We have an opportunity to place a long-term care recovery center. The state is very interested in making this one of 4 locations in the state, and they're willing to partner. We were leaders in the lawsuit that got us the recovery monies. And so that being said, I think it's a good idea. The number of youth that are not working or not in high school, obviously I'm a trustee here at the college, been a trustee for 9 years. We recognize that problem. We put resources inside the schools to capture those students, bring them to Western Piedmont. We've built a skilled trades building to answer that.
Thank you, candidate Mulway.
Thank you.
Next up, candidate Stroud.
Yes, well, I've dealt with this for 40 years. I've been doing things like this with different religious organizations my whole life, and I'm always concerned about each and every person. You know, that's the heart of all of us. We got to care for one another. That being said, people choose to do hard drugs, just like we choose to drink our Starbucks or whatever we're going to do. Building a regional, that stuff's got to fall in state. In my mind, I mean, that's kind of like washing the hands, you know, all this kind of stuff. We can't keep up with what we got. I mean, if Braun can come in there and do some things, we're not using what we got. You know, and I know I'm probably the wild card out here tonight. What the heck is he talking about? But people don't know. I'm all about maintaining what we got and taking care of what we got. If we can't maintain what we got, how are we going to do something else? And on the Confederate thing, y'all know how I feel about that. And I've got podcasts on that. Most of the citizens, you know, my white friends, they say it's okay. My black friends, they don't like it. You know, what's up with that? You know, I'm all about bringing us together. You know, we the United States.
Thank you, Candidate Stroud. Candidate Barrier.
Yeah, so for the youth, you know, there are a lot of youth sitting at home. I've read the commissioner's minutes of a lot of the meetings and strategic planning and saw those statistics. And, you know, we got to get back to igniting the youth, and we do that through talking to you people, okay? It all goes back to the citizens of the county. What do you want us to do? Yes, you elect us to take care of things, but there's 90,000 people in this county and a lot of smart people, and if you ask them, they're going to give you some good answers. I've already gotten a ton of good answers when I've just asked. And so I think, again, we got to reach out to people, ignite the youth. You know, we used to have TV commercials. We got social media today. All these kids are on. It costs very little to reach out to them and ignite them and get programs from the churches, all the faith-based stuff like Mike was saying. There's plenty of churches that'll do it if we just get out there and ask them. So we can ignite the youth. The Opioid Treatment Center, I'm going to talk about that. I myself lost 3 siblings to drugs and alcohol effects of those things, and so nobody cares more than I do. I just think that treatment center, where it's at and how it's going about, is not a good idea, and I'm going to talk just a little bit about that here at the end.
Thank you, Candidate Barrier. Candidate Britton.
All right, thank you. Substance abuse does continue to be a scourge on all of our society, particularly here in Burke County. Our numbers are above average, and we see that all the time. We're responding to 1 overdose daily. Our EMS responds to 1 overdose daily. Most of us may not realize that if we don't deal with it in our families, but it's an ongoing scourge. We were fortunate to be a part of the lawsuit. We've got millions of dollars coming into our county to help us address some of these issues. I am certainly in favor of working with all of our partners in the county. We got lots of good folks, faith-based as well as others, who are doing good work with substance abuse. And I'm proud that we've got that money that we can help. But also the long-term facility can be a great help to these folks who simply have difficulty stepping out of substance abuse. So again, I go back to economic development. That will fuel.
Thank you, Candidate Britton. Thank you. We'll move on to round 3. So if all candidates will open the third envelope, please. And the third question reads, every year the county commissioners go through a budgeting process and hear from county departments in regards to their needs to carry out their responsibilities. Knowing that financial resources are limited, how will you make your budget decisions and what will be your priorities? We will start this round with Candidate Freeman.
So again, I've been through municipal government and been in municipal government for over 30 years. You know, when you talk about budgeting, you know, it's our responsibility to set a budget that's responsible, that shows good stewardship of the taxpayer dollars. And once that budget's set, we don't just go through that. We've got to look for alternatives such as grant source funding opportunities. We've got to look for other ways to do this. However, when we're doing this budget, we have got to work closely hand in hand with other elected officials. If we do not pull those people to the table and prioritize what we need, and then start making long-term projections and making strategic plans to move forward with those, we will simply continue to hammer ourselves into the ground and not have the ability to get what we need to stay state-of-the-art with our emergency services and things that draw people into this community. We've got to work hand in hand and establish these priorities.
Thank you, Candidate Freeman. Candidate Mulwey.
And as I said earlier, I'll go back to our financial position, AA plus rated by S&P and Moody's. That's because of our fiscal policies and the responsible fiscal policies, low debt, low taxes. We're great in our savings fund. I will say, as far as budget goes, we do a zero-based budget now. And so just because you got $100,000 last year doesn't mean you're getting $100,000 this year. You come before every department, all 28 departments come before our county manager, and they make decisions, and they bring it to the commissioners, and they have to prove what they need in their budgets each and every year. And in addressing this, I will also state by the efficiencies we put in place by finding efficiencies within government through grant writing. We hired a grant writer 2 years ago. That's helped alleviate the budget and the taxpayer burden. We have budget analysts now that has streamlined processes and found savings throughout government.
Thank you, Candidate
We're doing
Mulway.
exactly what we're supposed to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Candidate Stroud.
Thank you. You got to have the right people in place. Like Brian Epwin, and we've talked with him from a business standpoint, ourselves, our business, and you got to have good people, got to have good staff. I rely on Arlen March and my wife to do things like that because Arlen's a superstar, like I said, and I think you got to have people that know how to run the fence line, know how to manage things, accountable. I'm all about the making the money part of it, bringing things up, but you got to account for everything. You got to use it the right way, and are we using it the right way? Everything seems so elevated to me. When I'm doing business, I'm always competing. I can compete to beat Lowe's and everybody else, but everything seems like it's so much money to do anything that's reasonable. Fair profit, a fair margin, fair to the people, work things out, make sure things are always done right, pay all your bills, pay your suppliers, and man, it works out when you do it like that. We can cut things and we can work things by running the fence line. I think we just got people that are not motivated.
Thank you, Candidate Stroud. Candidate Barrier.
Yeah, so I do like the strategic planning meetings that they do. I've read all those and taken some notes. Back in 2020 at one of their strategic planning meetings, the buildings were being gone over, and those were rated from 1 to 5, and a lot of these are 1s and 2s in condition. They've been around a long time, but I'll tell you, I was really surprised. One of the commissioners that are here tonight said he was surprised at the condition of the buildings, and that alarmed me because in 7 years that he had been there, I would think when I was a district manager, I went to every store, I looked at the condition and the morale, I wasn't there to micromanage my general manager, but I wanted to see how my store looked and how my people's morale was, and it alarms me that we're in such a bad condition, and so we are making some priorities here. They've got a capital improvement plan, and I can't go through all that. I'm not going to have time for that today, but please stick around and ask me some questions because I've got all the data and I'm happy to share it with you, but we can do it, but we're going to have to get tight on the budget, and we're going to have to cut back governments for essential services. I'm going to just pound that, essential services.
Thank you, Candidate Barrier. Candidate Britton.
All right, thank you. We in fact do have a budget process, and as we approach that, the question is, how will you make your budget decisions? Well, we make those by looking at every department. Every department has needs. We have some 28 different departments in the county. Our citizens expect and demand a reasonable service. And so as we look through that budget and we look at those departments, we try to determine what do our citizens expect. And so that's how we go about deciding what to spend in each of these areas. It's not about one over the other. Every department's important. Today you might need an EMS service. Tomorrow you might need the sheriff's service. Every department's important, and it's important that we look at those carefully and allocate funds reasonably. That's our mission. That's what we try to do.
Thank you, Candidate Britton. Candidate Carswell.
Thank you, Susan. As I said earlier, I took an oath as your commissioner to ensure that the taxes you pay are used responsibly. Ladies and gentlemen, we do that. You know that. You've seen the budgets when they've come out. We got to pay for education. Education is priority for our kids here, and I am so glad that we were able to give more money into education this year. We need to pay money for economic development. If you need an ambulance and if you need a sheriff's officer, we make sure that you have those coming to you. We have not spent a dime, not a dime that should not have been spent to make sure that this county survives in what it is supposed to serve you as the citizens of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Carswell. We will wrap up with a 2-minute closing statement from each candidate. We'll begin at the far end with Candidate Stroud and work our way back towards me. So Candidate Stroud, 2 minutes.
Well, thank you once again for being here. Thank the commissioners and the candidates. Appreciate all you guys. We're all family. We'll get through this, all of us. But I believe there's a new way, a new vision. I think people are ready to come up, and I think people are ready for somebody that's motivated. I'm motivated. I've been here. Y'all seen my business, and we haven't even started. We haven't even started manufacturing. We haven't even started. There's no homeless problem. We got homes set down in the yard. People just got to be involved and get up there and do it. You got to be invested in our community. You got to be doing something. You got to clean it up. Man, and I'm all about that. We can cut the trees back right down the street. This is my thing, right down the street. It feels like we're in the last century still. I mean, we got busted stuff up. I mean, it's the simple stuff to fix to me. Who's the concrete guy? Who's the asphalt guy? That's the way I think. I cleared a bridge down here at Stone Bridge for $300 and my lawn guy, and people are like, wow, we can see the traffic through there now, you know, and there ain't no homeless under there because you can see. It's got to be landscape. It's got to be looking good. We got to be the best in everything we do. You can check me out at electmikestroud.com, and I'm excited about running with Sean and Brian Barrier.
Yeah.
Thank you, Candidate Stroud. Candidate Mulway.
Oh, thank you. First, I'd like to thank you, Susan, for hosting. I remember the Chamber for hosting. Susan, you for moderating. I've been in that job for many years before I got elected, so you're doing it quite well. I'd like to thank our opponents and my fellow county commissioners for tonight's event as well. I will say I appreciate people recognizing that our strategic plan has been very successful. Our capital investment plan is thorough and well thought out, so I won't go into that. The one point I did want to make, and it was brought up several times, is about transparency. And I would like to point out that all our meetings are public and are on YouTube and are free to view at any time. But I will get a plug in because I got a little cut off earlier. Fireside chats, I've been doing those, started these in 2022. They are on YouTube. They are videoed, or like I said, available on YouTube. We discuss timely topics such as budgets, schools, Burke development, tourism development, School of Science and Math, revow, other topics like Great Meadows Project, which is about a 25-minute good watch. I would encourage everyone to do that. And our next one will be concerning broadband. We're working hard on trying to get broadband coverage for 90% of citizens in Burke County in the next several years. So just go on YouTube, search Burke County and Fireside Chats. I'd like to close by saying that our commissioners are a team, and we have achieved success as a team. We have great employees that bought into our vision and deliver excellent client service. We continue to provide them the tools to succeed. Our feedback from the public has been extremely positive, and if you want to continue this momentum, this proven leadership, vision, success, vote for Scott Mulway, vote for Johnny Carswell, and vote for Jeff Britton. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Mulway. Candidate Freeman.
So in closing, I would like to thank the college and the chamber for having us here. I'd like to thank everyone that's here for showing up. This does my heart good to see everybody take such notice into the political realm of what's going on in the county. In closing, I was going to sit up here and I was going to talk about stats and throw numbers out of things that have been brought to me by citizens of what's wrong. I was going to talk about the fact that the citizens are saying there's lack of transparency and lack of communication from our government. However, I'm not going to say that. This is what I will say. If you look at the preamble in our Constitution, there are 3 words that are emboldened in the Constitution, and it is "we the people." We the people means the government serves the people. That was reiterated some years later in 1863 by Abraham Lincoln in his Gettysburg Address when he said that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that the government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this earth. I will tell you that you have 3 viable challengers sitting at this table who care very much about this county, about its people, and we value the input and want to restore the voice of the citizens to our local government. So when it comes time to vote, and I encourage everyone to get out and vote in early voting. This makes a difference. Vote for Sean Freeman, Mike Stroud, and Brian Barrier for the 3 seats that are open. Make your voices be heard.
Thank you, Candidate Freeman. Candidate Carswell.
Thank you again, Susan. And let me reiterate, I'd like to thank the Burke County Chamber of Commerce for having us here this evening. And I want to thank all of you in this audience for taking your time to listen to the candidates. Ladies and gentlemen, I still embrace the vision for America in Burke County that was established by our founding fathers. I still believe America's strength lies with you, the family. I still believe that free enterprise is the most effective and just economic system that we have, and that economic freedom is essential to human liberty and dignity. I still believe that we should expect excellence in public education and that effective and efficient protective services are provided for everyone here. I still believe we should expect our elected leaders to be competent, effective, ethical, and responsive to the needs of the citizens of this county. Again, all elections are about trust, and I'm asking that you trust me to be your representative on the Board of Commissioners so that together we can continue to bring new life to Burke County. Again, thank you for being here, and may God bless our county, our state, and our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Carswell. Candidate Britton.
Thank you. I've chosen to run for re-election to Burke County Board of Commissioners because I believe I can continue to make a positive difference in our county. Over the past several years, we've made great strides to improve work productivity with investments in human capital and technology all across county departments. We've made community investments in EMS, the Sheriff's Office, our library system, DSS, senior services, public education, as well as parks and recreation, improving availability of all these important services to every one of our Burke County citizens. And we've done that while maintaining the 83rd lowest tax levy per capita. I think that says a lot about what we've done in terms of maintaining a low tax rate. We've developed a dedicated team of talented professionals who continue to analyze our county services and work to meet the needs of our citizens effectively and efficiently as possible. I'm proud of these accomplishments we've made over the past years, but there are new challenges before us. The successes we've seen in economic development, along with the location of our new North Carolina School of Math and Science to our county, continues to demonstrate the need for affordable and workforce housing. We need to continue working together to address the housing shortages, and we're doing that. We are also continuing to challenge the need to skilled labor in all sectors. I want to continue working with our school system, our community college system, our economic development team to address all of these needs. Economic development and education must continue to be our top priorities if our county is going to grow and thrive into the future. Burke County should never be satisfied with below average performance in any area. And as a commissioner, it's my goal to provide quality, necessary services to our citizens at the most economical price possible. As an electrical engineer by training and having worked in the utility industry for 40 years, served in my church and worked on many boards, I appreciate the opportunity to serve our county.
Thank you. And we will close with Candidate Barrier.
I believe government exists to provide essential services only, yet we have continued to grow the size and property of local government. Every piece of property the government owns is a piece of property taken off our tax base. No home will be built, no business established, shifting the tax burden to you and me. Under their leadership, Burke County has become one of the worst counties in North Carolina for opioid overdose. Under their leadership, the homeless population has exploded. Under their leadership, citizens have been kept in the dark on major projects and expenditures until the deals are done. They built a $22 million jail when at the time, now retired Commissioner Maynard Taylor stated that we could have renovated the jail for $3 million. Now they're full steam ahead on renovating the old jail to turn it into a long-term regional opioid treatment center. Sure, let's bring addicts from other counties, and when they don't get clean, where do you think they're going to settle? Last year, they approved and purchased 4.25 acres of land just off Highway 18 and paid $400,000 for 4 acres, $100,000 an acre. We have 79-acre industrial park adjacent to I-40 at the Cathy Road exit that's been empty since 2005. Just recently, one company started building on the 30 acres, but the rest is still empty. Now the Great Meadows mega site has been announced, over 1,300 acres in pristine land near Lake James. Due to the recent uproar from citizens, commissioners are now backing down and saying about only 165 acres of it would actually be developed for industry. But all their previous comments and all the news articles said we'd never get another chance for a project that big. Then why buy the 1,300 acres? Another piece of land coming off the tax base, and we're going to get the burden of that. The pay for commissioners in the 2020-2021 budget was $9,204 per year. Now it's $16,386. Did you get a 79% pay increase? Friends, I could go on and on, but I'm out of time, so I'll leave you this. I promise to dig in and find common sense solutions that don't burden taxpayers. If you want complete transparency, limited government, and lower taxes, vote Brian Barrier for commissioner. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, candidate Barrier. Let's take a moment to applaud all candidates. I appreciate your participation this evening. We have candidates for the Burke County Board of Education, and I'm going to call up candidates in groups. Those candidates who do not have an opponent present this evening for their race will only be giving a 3-minute statement. Candidates that do have an opponent present will give a 2-minute statement, answer questions, and have a 2-minute closing statement. So we're going to begin with candidate Brad Camp, a candidate for the Western District for the Burke County Board of Education. And so at this point, I will invite Brad Camp to provide us with a 3-minute statement. Your timekeepers are in the front row.
All right. Well, Susan, I'm sorry. I have been looking forward to this opportunity to sit before you and to explain to you why I would be the person you want to choose for school board for the Western seat. So why me? I taught middle school for 7 years. I was a high school counselor for 25 in a public school. And my wife has taught elementary school and public schools for 39 years. And both of my daughters are teachers here in Burke County Public Schools. So I am committed to public school, and I am committed to Burke County. In fact, I have 3 granddaughters who also attend in Burke County Public Schools. So I am committed to this county and to this process. I am committed to bringing on integrity to the board. I am committed to bringing on good judgment to the board. I am committed to bringing on transparency to the board and being responsive to parents and to the community. I very much want to do all that we can do to get parents more involved, to communicate better with parents, to have parents volunteer in the classroom as well as become aware of what's going on. I think transparency has been lacking in this lately. And I am committed to, as I was a teacher, my wife was a teacher, and my daughters are teachers, I am committed to supporting teachers and helping our teachers become and be the best teachers that they can be, the teachers that our students in our county need. And also I'm committed to supporting and helping to bring on the best teachers that we can bring on. I am committed to the students. I am committed to protecting the students from the woke, from the liberal things that are coming up on this in this county and in this country. And we are going to protect our students from those kinds of things that are infecting our schools and infecting our students. So we started 2 years ago a conservative movement in our schools with a voting in of 3 good conservative school board members. This is the time to finish what we started. So please vote for me and our other true conservative candidates for school board. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Camp. Please join me in applauding him and thank you for his time. And we would like to clarify an error that I stated earlier. Ms. Susan Jones did, in fact, respond to our invitation to participate in the forum. We apologize for that error. I'd like to call candidate Jones forward at this time to provide a 3-minute statement as her opponent did earlier. So, Ms. Jones, if you'd like to come forward.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, and I do want to state that on January the 16th, I replied to the email to attend this forum. My response was, my name is Susan Jones and I'm running for the Western seat on the school board. I will be attending the forum on February the 8th. Thank you for the opportunity. I have 30 years experience in North Carolina public education. 23 of those years are in Burke County Public Schools as a special education teacher and an administrator. I have served at the elementary level, middle school level, high school level, and at the central office level. I have lots of experience to bring to the table. I have served on numerous committees in the school system, from media committees, safe schools committees. I remember the first Safe Schools Committee that I served on was actually the day that Columbine happened. And I don't think I'll ever forget that. And so one of my priorities is continuing to look at safe schools and how we can better provide safe schools for all the students, the staff, faculty, and all the visitors that come into Burke County Public Schools. That's always been a huge priority for me. And I do want to, again, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. And I'm sorry that I didn't get to participate in the forum.
Thank you, Candidate Jones. Next up, we will call candidate Sonia Rocket, candidate for the Central District, Burke County Board of Education. And candidate Rocket, you'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking the Chamber for holding this forum and for all of you for your interest in your vote and what your vote stands for. I'm excited to introduce myself and to outline a few of the reasons that I decided to run for the Burke County School Board. As she said, my name is Sonia Rocket, and I'm running for the Central District seat, but you're not going to see my name on the March Republican primary ballot because I'm unopposed in the primary. So you'll have to look for my name on your November ballot. It's also why you aren't seeing signs anywhere, because I don't need signs right now. I've lived in Burke County for all my life. My husband John and I have been married 32 years until he passed away in June of last year. We have 2 daughters who are successful women with families and careers in Burke County. We also have 2 granddaughters who are or soon will be in the Burke County public school system. Obviously, they're 2 of the reasons that I decided to run for this seat, but there's much more than that. Our public schools have many students who excel. They participate in extracurricular activities and are successful throughout their school career. Unfortunately, we also have many students who don't. We are failing these children as a community, as a school system, and as parents. These issues cannot be resolved without support from both parents and school administration. It's imperative that we work together to solve issues like discipline, immorality, and degradation in our schools. And that same teamwork is required for academic success. What's better for our community? A passing rate of 96% or higher, or a graduate who can read, write, and do the math? I think we all know that answer. I've had teachers tell me that they aren't allowed to fail a student who doesn't participate in class, never turns in an assignment, or takes a test. I've heard teachers talk about the inability to motivate a failing student and receive no support from that student's parents. The most common unofficial solution for these issues is pass the student, get them out of the system so they don't hold back the rising classes. This is real, and this is happening in our schools today. There's a high likelihood these students struggled in school at an early age, and we'll probably never know the reason behind that struggle. What's important is that we stop this cycle, and we stop it now. I don't have a solution to this problem, but I'm ready to work within the bounds of the school board's authority to find one. Likewise, we have got to stand firm against teaching critical social theories and gender ideology and lifestyle philosophies in our school. Only parents and guardians have the right to influence their children on these matters. The school curriculum is set at the state level, so we at the local level must be diligent in reviewing, understanding, and knowing what that curriculum includes.
Thank you, candidate Rocket.
Thank you all.
Let's give a round of applause to the candidate. Now I would like to invite to the floor candidates Jeffrey Reed Beck, Wendy Craven, Seth Hunt, and Jamie Wyckoff. We will begin with 2-minute opening statements from each of the candidates, beginning with candidate Beck, and I remind you of your timekeepers up front.
Thank you very much. My name is Jeffrey Reed Beck, and I'm running for the Eastern seat on the Burke County Board of Education. A little bit about me is that I have lived in Burke County for the last 8 years. I've been telling people that have been telling me that they've lived here their whole life. You got stuck here, but I chose to be here. I absolutely love it, and I don't think that there's anything that would make me want to leave here. I'm 26 years old. My wife and I have been married for 3 years, and we are the guardians of a 16-year-old who we have adopted. That is my brother. Like I said, I'm 26 years old. I've had people tell me that I'm too young to run, that I don't have skin in the game, and I absolutely do. I have a 16-year-old at East Burke High School, and I'm a taxpayer in Burke County. My tax dollars are going to fund the stuff that is happening in Burke County, so I absolutely do have skin in the game. I have a master's degree in divinity, I have a bachelor's degree in theology, and I have an associate's degree in Christian ministries. My work history is that I have served at 2 different churches as a youth and children's pastor, and I'm currently a business manager with Full and Widener Enterprises here in Morganton, North Carolina. I am the chairman of the Catawba Valley Young Republicans. I represent Burke, Catawba, Caldwell, McDowell County for the Young Republicans aged 18 to 40 years old. I'm a current sitting city council member for the town of Conley Springs. And I won't get into the rest because I won't have time.
All right, thank you, candidate Beck. Candidate Craven.
Well, it's my honor to be with you tonight. I'm Wendy Craven, and I have 2 children, Michael and Caroline, who are both graduates of Patton High School. I'm a retired school administrator and special education teacher and coach. I'm currently the guest services supervisor at the Fairfield Inn, historic downtown Morganton. And I am currently a school board member, and I served the last 2 years as your chairwoman. I'm on the advisory board for Big Brothers Big Sisters. I'm a foster mom for Partners for Cats, and I serve on the North Carolina School Board Association Board of Directors. I am also a member of North Morganton United Methodist Church, where I serve on the WE School Board. I'm a former principal of the year for Burke County Public Schools and a 2-time Best of Burke principal, which is voted on by our community. During my chairwomanship, we passed several policies on vaping, cell phones, media policies, and helped to overturn a law with our county commissioners, which gave large supplements for our folks. I also ensured that our sheriff's department, there was money given so that our school resource officers could receive training. Thank you all.
Thank you, candidate Craven. Candidate Hunt.
Well, thank you for hosting us tonight. It's certainly a good opportunity to let everyone see our faces and what we stand for. My name is Seth Hunt, and Burke County has been my home for nearly 30 years. I grew up in rural eastern North Carolina. My first GoFundMe account was in the tobacco fields, earning money to buy your going back to school clothes. It was that point in time in the very hot tobacco fields I learned the importance of a good public education. I'm married to my lovely wife Hannah, who's a school teacher here in Burke County. We have 2 lovely stepdaughters, one of whom is in middle school here, and a son who graduated Patton High and is now practicing attorney in South Carolina. I was raised in a Christian family by a school principal father and a school teacher mother. I graduated from Atlantic Christian College. I'm a retired state employee with over 33 years of service. Over the course of my life, I've been a mayor, a sheriff's investigator, a state emergency medical service regulator, directed 3 large state facilities with schools, 2 here in Burke County, Broughton, and the North Carolina School for the Deaf, and a small business owner. Governor Pat McCrory honored me a few years ago by presenting me with the Order of the Longleaf Pine for my service to the state and our community. I've been a member of the Burke County Board of Education since 2016, and currently serve as its chairman. I'm of the Methodist faith, and I'm very pleased to be here tonight.
Thank you, Candidate Hunt. Candidate Wyckoff.
Thank you, Western Piedmont Community College and the Burke County Chamber of Commerce. My name is Jamie Wyckoff. I am a lifelong resident of Burke County and the product of Burke County Public Schools. I'm married with 2 children who currently receive services from Burke County Public Schools, and I also have a son that graduated from East Burke High School. Go Cavs. I began public service at the age of 21 as a police officer and was promoted very quickly to the rank of sergeant. And I served as a police officer for 10 years full-time and 12 years part-time reserve position. I've been an instructor for the Caldwell Community College Basic Law Enforcement Program since 2005. And not only have I had the opportunity to train hundreds of officers across the state of North Carolina, but I also got the privilege to teach parents internet safety on how to keep their children safe from online predators. And in 2010, I joined my family business, which has served Burke County citizens for the past 45 years. And I'm very humbled to be endorsed by the North Carolina Values Coalition, Michelle Tigg and Don Sigmund, who serve currently with the Catawba County School Board, Lieutenant Governor candidate Alan Mashburn, and other Christian and conservative organizations. And I'm a candidate for the Board of Education because I believe our school system can be a place where the teachers want to devote their entire careers. And I also believe that our school system can be a place where parents are confident that upon graduation their children will be well equipped with the life skills to become productive members of society. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Wyckoff. Now invite all candidates to open the first envelope. The first question: at recent Board of Education meetings, there have been public comments regarding books and supplemental materials, and more specifically on Policy 3200, selection of instructional and supplementary materials, and Policy 3210, parental inspection of and objection to educational materials. What is your position on these policies? And we will begin this round with Candidate Craven.
Thank you. When I became chairwoman, the first thing that I did is to work on this policy in January of 2022. This was very important to me because the information had been brought to us from the community that we had some materials and some books in our schools that had pornographic material. There is a difference between controversial material and pornographic material, and I took this very, very seriously. We have now the premier policy in the state of North Carolina because we did listen to our community. We brought legal counsel in who also worked with the North Carolina Values Coalition, and I believe that this will be the policy for the state of North Carolina to follow, and I am very, very proud of it.
Thank you, Candidate Craven. Candidate Hunt.
Well, I echo the same thing Wendy just said. This is a premier policy. Nobody's ever seen or done anything like this in the state. It's a very comprehensive policy that started well before anybody got interested in it. Yes, we had pornographic books, in my opinion. As the stepdad of a 13-year-old girl, no. Some of those materials I would absolutely not want her to be privy to or exposed to. So very clearly we had issues that we didn't know about. Some of these books have been in the media centers 10, 11 years. Many of them not even checked out. That's the facts. Why did it take so long? Well, we didn't embrace the concept of book banning right to begin with. We did a very considered approach about what needed to be done, what needed to be handled, and did it in a way that we truly believe it will stand the test of time.
Thank you, Candidate Hunt. Next up, Candidate Wyckoff.
Thank you. I'm one of the parents who spearheaded the effort to try to remove these pornographic books. As far as the policy goes, I did not agree with the policy that was implemented in 2022. I thought some of it was great, but I did see changes that needed to happen, so I took those changes to the board, and those changes happened. One of the things I wanted to change was from 5 years down, when you got to re-challenge a book, that was changed. That was also a part where it said professional educators were in the best position to determine what was appropriate. I wanted to see that removed. It was removed. And also now I brought it to the board about allowing stakeholders to be able to challenge material, and then that is now challenged. So with the policy now, I pretty much like the policy it was voted and passed unanimously this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Wyckoff. Candidate Beck.
Yep, before we come in here to speak, one of the Board of Education members come up to somebody in our group and told them that we should tell the truth. Let's tell the truth and let's tell the whole truth, okay? If you're a taxpayer in Burke County, you're a citizen of Burke County, you got a child in Burke County, you should be able to challenge these books. The books should have been dealt with a long time ago. And so we fought the critical race theory 2 years ago. We fought the pornographic and the obscenity in the books for the last year. February will be a year. But Mr. Hunt said in one of his things was, why did it take so long? It took so long because now it's election time. It took so long because they have waited this entire time because they want you to forget what they have been doing for the last 2 years. I think these are good people. I just think that it was planned that it would be now that it's time to handle these situations.
Thank you, Candidate Beck. If all candidates will please open the second envelope.
Good Lord.
And the second question reads, given the recent legislative changes and collaborative efforts between the Burke County Board of Education and the Burke County Board of Commissioners to increase teacher supplements and provide greater flexibility in school funding, how do you envision further leveraging these funds to enhance educational outcomes for students and support the needs of educators in Burke County? We will begin this round with Candidate Hunt.
This was a very important thing that happened with us. We've created a great deal of trust between the Board of Education and the county commissioners. The big issue with the money before was that the money clearly could not be used but for anything but capital improvement. This gives us the flexibility to use these funds in other areas of supplementing various other things. How is it going to be determined? It will be determined every budget year by the sitting board during our budget process, similar to what the commissioners had outlined a while ago. So the process is in place. How personally do I want to leverage it? I don't think I got the time, but it's probably not going to be inconsistent with how the rest of the board chooses.
Thank you, Candidate Hunt. Candidate Wyckoff.
One of the things I like to see starting, I know it would take some money to start doing it. I think we should see some more vocational programs started in high school. And I've seen Patton has a fire program, which I absolutely love. I think one thing that would be awesome to be able to do is to do the same thing, but do it for law enforcement. Because one of the reasons why, because we right now are dying to get more law enforcement in this county and across the state. They may be a BLET class around where you may only have 5 cadets or 5 students. We need to be able to do something to draw in more students to law enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Wyckoff. Candidate Beck.
Yeah, so I was excited whenever I attended a meeting where the supplements for teachers and some other people were raised. I think that that's a good thing. I thank our county commissioners for helping out our school system. I've been talking to people, and not that the Board of Education can decide teachers' pay, but when you have a teacher who is worried about how they're going to put gas in their car, get back and forth to work, that affects our children, right? They're focusing on other things. And so I would like to get with the county commissioners and figure out what can we do to help these teachers out. I don't know that raising the supplement is the answer. I don't really know the answer to it, but I think that we've seen Catawba County Schools, like Jamie said, they've got a great CTE program that they have invested in, and I would love to see some more active CTE programs happening here in Burke County. They brought in a whole bunch of different fire and police and stuff like Jamie said, and so I would love to look forward to listening to the parents and the teachers and figuring out what.
Thank you, Candidate Beck. And Candidate Craven.
Thank you. Obviously, this was an historical event for our county, and I am very proud to have my signature on that paperwork, as well as Mr. Mulwee. It had been very contentious relationship between the Board of Education and the county commissioners for many, many years, so I'm very proud that I could be a part of that. Supplements are extremely important to keep our teachers, our coaches, and our staff. That would be my #1 priority. Again, as Mr. Hunt said, every year we have to assess our needs, and that would come from our principals and our administration allowing us or telling us what we need, what they need, and how we can use the money, and working with our county commissioners on how we use that money. That's also a very, very important piece.
Thank you, Candidate Craven. And now the final question, if everyone will open up the third envelope, please. And the third question, many industries throughout our community have faced hiring challenges in recent years. What approaches would you take to address staffing shortages being experienced in the school system? And we will begin this round with Candidate Wyckoff.
I think it goes back to what I was talking about trying to do some more vocational programs. I know whenever I was in school, they pressed college, which is great. College is not for everybody. A lot of students don't want to go to college, and we have so many needs here in Burke County and surrounding counties, HVAC, plumbing, stuff like that, where students can go in and learn beforehand and make a very good life off doing these things. So I believe it's bringing in those vocational programs into our high schools.
Thank you, Candidate Wyckoff. Candidate Beck.
Yeah, so as a business manager with Full and Wider Enterprises, we have been able to partner with some of the schools. We've done hiring events and stuff like that with the schools. I would love to see some more things like that going on throughout the year. I would love to get with some of the car dealerships and stuff in Burke County and have kids go in and learn how to change oil and all this other stuff, and have a path that could lead them into working at the dealership and stuff like that. I would love to see kids come into the food industry and stuff like that, and work with us. I think that our business is looking for that kind of stuff. So I would just like to get out into the community and connect with the businesses and bring them in and figure out how can we benefit from each other.
Thank you, Candidate Beck. Candidate Craven.
Well, I agree. Vocational programs is the way we need to go. But more specifically, what vocational programs can we offer to our community that our community needs, like in the furniture business? That's one that's very specific. Also, we have been entertaining adding law enforcement vocational classes for our students at some of our high schools, and also working with Western Piedmont Community College to develop specific programs that are unique to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Craven. Candidate Hunt.
Well, perhaps I read this a bit differently. I'm focusing on what approaches would you take to address staffing shortages being experienced in the school system. And that's not to take away from everything that's already been said, but we do have staffing shortages in our school system. We're experiencing a low number of kids that are getting in elementary education in college. And so if the universities and colleges are not cranking out teachers, it's difficult to hire them. I know the state has taken some extra advances, I guess, with licenses and reducing the requirements that would allow us to get folks in the classrooms quicker. But until we start truly showing support for our teachers, and that means parents doing what they should do with their children and truly supporting the parents. It's got to be a synergistic relationship between teachers and parents. You start seeing these and you'll see respect.
Thank you, Candidate Hunt.
Thank you.
And we will wrap up with a 2-minute closing statement from each candidate, beginning with Candidate Wyckoff and working back towards me.
Thank you. Thank you again for having us. In February of 2023 and the months following, I presented to the Board of Education and the superintendent multiple book titles containing very explicit sexual content. And I found that for a decade, adult-rated material had made their way undetected into our media centers, and with the help of the community, we were able to see many of those titles removed recently. And I also voiced to the board several changes that were needed in the media policy that was promoted as the model media policy to other districts. And just this past Monday, as I mentioned earlier, those changes were added, voted on, and passed unanimously. And over the past year, I've been seeing other issues that our school district is facing as well. Teachers trying to teach their students while managing severe discipline issues. And this discipline problem is causing teacher retention issues as well. Some have even worried about being assaulted by unruly students. And teacher spouses have even informed me of the stress that this matter is causing on their loved ones. And both of them are begging for help. And allowing this to continue is unacceptable for both teachers and students. And I'm not a politician at all, however, I'm a daddy. And I have 2 young children in the school system. And I'm deeply concerned with the direction that it's headed in, not just for the children, but for the teachers as well. And I'm a Christian conservative, advocate for parents, and I very much support and appreciate our teachers. And so I ask for your vote on March the 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Wyckoff. Candidate Hunt.
Again, thank you for having us here tonight. I also would appreciate your vote. I am not a single subject candidate. What I've learned since I've been on the Board of Education is that you've got to be able to focus on many different things at one time and be able to craft as many different possible solutions as you can, and with that, create some relationship with your other board members so that in many times you reach compromise. I've heard an awful lot tonight about, well, you know, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, or whatever too. I would point out, and I would challenge anybody to tell me a time when our board has voted on something very controversial where it's not been a unanimous vote. Very seldom do we really disagree on things. The single issue book thing, for all intents and purposes, it's not been completely resolved, but that's just about settled, and we're moving on to some other things. And you're going to be seeing some things, I'm going to say, over the course of at least the next month or two that I think you're going to really be pleased about. And, you know, Mr. Beck, no, none of this was planned with the election in mind. I appreciate you thinking I'm that wise enough to be able to do that, but I'm not. But at any rate, you know, we do what we can. We have a school system that we need to be very proud of. We have issues, and as we uncover these issues, we deal with them, and we deal with them in a transparent way. We don't sweep them aside. Rest assured we don't. I'd appreciate your vote, and I'd appreciate your support, and I'd appreciate your support of our schools, because it affects us all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Candidate Hunt. Candidate Craven.
Again, thank you so much for having us tonight. And I would also kind of like to settle what Mr. Beck said. I want to tell you how this actually happened. We were pulling books and assessing them. You cannot just go in and start pulling books. It's illegal. They must be assessed and looked at. I prayed to God for a long time. And I said, God, please tell me what to do, how to advise this superintendent and this board. And God told me, Wendy, put a moratorium on the books. Find out if it's legal. You people need to understand this was new waters and new territories that we were swimming through. I went to the superintendent And I said, you ask the attorney, can we pull the rest of these books that we know about and put a moratorium on them until we can assess them? And the attorney came back and said, yes, we can. That's why it took so long. It has nothing to do with this election. And I want to get the story straight. It's from God Almighty. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Craven. Candidate Beck.
You're welcome, Mr. Hunt, for me believing that. So I just want to know that I'm excited for the opportunity to run for the Burke County Board of Education. I've got 3 reasons that I'm running. The first reason is that I want to handle these book situations swiftly and with some common sense. It could have been handled a year ago. It should have been handled a year ago. I want to make sure that we have a board that is being proactive instead of reactive. Stop waiting for things to come and hit us in the teeth before we handle them. And I want full transparency. I keep hearing about meetings that are happening behind closed doors. I want those meetings to happen out front. I want everything to be completely transparent in our school system. So thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Beck. Let's give a round of applause to all candidates. I would like to again thank all candidates who participated this evening. In closing, I'll encourage you to turn out for the upcoming primary election, and please be involved in all of our local government, municipal, county, school board processes. So thank you for being here this evening. I'm going to turn this back over to Tanya to wrap us up.
Thank you, Susan. Let's give Susan a round of applause. Again, our apologies to Miss Susan Jones that we had that error. I want to say a big thank you to AT&T and Chuck Green. We appreciate your support and partnership. Thank you so much for being here tonight. We want to say thank you to Western Piedmont Community College, Dr. Joel Welch and all of his team, especially Tim Pittman and Susan Burley for all that they do. Please check us out on Compass or the Chamber's YouTube channel. Should be up next week. And I want to say a big thank you to Kevin Ferris and Kelly Messenheimer for helping us as timekeepers. If you enjoyed the food outside, it's Copper Penny Grill over in Roadhiss, so I hope you enjoyed that during the reception. Thank you, Randy Davis with episode 11 for giving us beautiful pictures to have moving forward. The full ballot is on the back of your program so you can see what you will be voting on March 5th. And I encourage everyone starting February 15th to go vote, either early voting or go on March 5th to early voting. It's very important to exercise your right to vote. Thank you all for being here tonight. Have a safe evening.